Look, initially I hated Google Ads. That's the irony of it. And I think it's mostly because I didn't understand, like I had no formal training way back when.
Stop and don't spend another single cent on advertising until you listen to this. I'm Marianne Amies. This is Ready, Set, Paid Ads, digital marketing for paid ad success. Let's go. Today, I'm joined by Bel Irvine, a Google Ads expert. And when I ask Bel, do you ads? There's no surprises what the answer might be. But what comes after is a fascinating chat into Google Ads, and not just the mechanics and platform techniques of Google Ads, but really how to know if Google Ads is a viable option for your business. And in fact, if you're ready for paid ads at all. Bel talks about her viability calculator, and it's such an interesting insight into some of the questions you need to ask yourself to understand if you're ready to go down the route of Google Ads and if that impact to your business will be profitable or not. I hope you enjoyed this chat. There's a lot of expertise. Grab a notepad, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. I'm joined today by Bel Irvine. How are you, Bel?
I'm really well, thank you.
Oh, that's good to hear. Look, to kick off, could you introduce yourself to everyone and just let them know a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. So I've done a little bit of everything over the years, but oh gosh, how many years ago now? Probably 6 years ago now, decided that I was going to specialize 100% in Google Ads. So I can speak to the other things and I can guide my clients on all the other things, but I exclusively do Google Ads these days.
Amazing. Well, perfect person to ask this question. And pretty obvious answer, but do you ads?
Yes, 100%.
So all about Google Ads for you. So tell us a little bit about why Google Ads. How did you land there? What's that passion look like for you?
Look, initially I hated Google Ads. That's the irony of it. And I think it's mostly because I didn't understand, like I had no formal training way back when. The way I came or got exposed to it was I actually worked for a charity that had 2 Google Grant accounts legitimately. They were legitimately set up in the US and in Australia. So we had money to play with, although grant accounts are a whole other little beast.
Oh, they're so painful.
Uh-huh.
False prophecy. It's like, here's a present, but you can never completely unwrap it.
But we're gonna tie your hands behind your back, and we're gonna put competitors anyway. Don't even get me started.
I know. I have had the joy of overseeing grant account management in Google Ads. That's a whole other topic.
It is indeed. So so I worked on that, and then I had clients that I was doing other, like my actual specialty originally was SEO, come to me and say, can you do me this little campaign on this little thing? And so eventually I did a big grand poobah course and worked out that the interface was fine once you actually knew what you were doing. And look, it's evolved so much from there. I think one of the biggest things I get paid for is to know what the changes are. And just when you think you've exhausted every single thing that you can possibly do in an account, Google will go and change things and flip it on its head again. So that's how I kind of look. I used to offer a pile of services. My skill set is project management, and I used to have a branding comms lady, graphic designer, build the website. I'd do the on-page SEO, and then kind of, if it was relevant, head them into Google Ads if that's what they were chasing.
Yeah.
Eventually, honestly, website development did my head in because none of the clients do their homework. No one the images they're supposed to do, and I got sick of being everybody's mother. So eventually I niched completely into Google Ads, and I've really never looked back.
Oh, amazing. That's fantastic. I know what you mean about websites when clients say to us, how long will it take? And I say, probably about 4 to 6 weeks, but I guarantee you'll hold us up.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I'm like, I say respectfully, the biggest problem is how long you're going to take to give me your stuff, because you're going to put a pile of pressure on me, but you'll be the one who takes the time.
Correct. Yeah, can count. Yeah, 90% of websites go that way. Okay, so all in on Google Ads and loving it. Yes, I agree. Google Ads, like Meta, always changing, always something new. Have you had much experience in Meta ads? And I guess what do you like about Google over Meta?
Look, I personally have only done a little bits and pieces, but I work closely with those who do. I understand that there's big issues. I won't speak to the specifics of that with regards to Facebook in the last 2 years
Oh,
particularly.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing that I like customers will say, or potential clients will say to me, oh, should I be doing Facebook ads as well, or which should I do? And I say to
Mm.
people, irrespective of whether I make any money out of doing Google ads for you, the difference is that, I always use Sally as my person that I speak about. On Facebook, you're screaming at Sally, hey, Sally, do you need a new pair of shoes? Do you want to buy a pair of shoes? Or, hey, Sally, you need to go to the chiropractor or the physio, help you. Whereas with Google, the person is already warm and they're searching for your service.
Yeah.
They're saying, I need a physio near me, or I need a chiropractor
Yeah.
near me, or I want to buy red shoes. Please help me buy red shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I think that is a major difference. I think that, Google searches are high intent. They're ready to go. They're researching, they've had the idea, they've recognized the need or some sort of complementary problem. Whereas on Facebook, you really are trying to raise awareness, garner interest. You're trying to warm somebody up. And, if you've got something amazingly impulsive, then you'll have, success straight out the gate on Meta. But if not, you are trying to take people on a journey, and that does take time and money.
Yeah, that's it. So I just landed personally in Google Ads. It probably wasn't there wasn't a conscious choice. It was just that's where my career sort of headed me. And mathematically, I'm sure that others could argue Facebook is similar, and from what I understand, it is in some regards. But I like that the difference, I guess, between SEO and Google Ads is that it's not guaranteed, but if I put A, B, and C into Google Ads, then I can reasonably expect E, D, and I can't even spell today, D, E, back out the other end. And that's what I like about Google Ads. Whereas I found the SEO work, you're competing against a pile of people who are breaking the rules, and you can do 10 or 20 hours of work and not guarantee an outcome.
Yeah, and it takes a long time. I was having that discussion with a client yesterday. SEO is a marathon, it's the tree you should have planted last year. Like it does take time, where Google, at the cost of your back pocket, can obviously happen a lot quicker as well.
Yeah.
So is Google Ads for everybody?
Look, I love that question, because Google Ads is not for everybody. And I get a pile of people naively, and it's just literally that they haven't been exposed, ring me and say, so I want to do Google Ads. And I'm like, okay, well, the first thing we have to do is take a step back and decide whether, in fact, you should be doing Google Ads.
Yeah.
You'll only catch yourself. I had this happen once where someone had a Google Ads account, because that also happens, where someone's disgruntled or is DIYing it or whatever, come to you. And I didn't do my viability calculator on this particular lady. And look, I won't obviously mention the name of the company or the product or anything like that, but her average sale value was $80. We worked it out through looking at her account that every sale was costing her $20 to get.
Wow.
And it wasn't till I got off the phone where I went, hang on a minute, I didn't do my calculator. Let's do that now. I ended up ringing her and saying, listen, because she had a brand issue. Someone was bidding on her brand name.
Oh, God.
And so I said to her, keep your brand campaign, turn the rest off. My kind of term for it is being a charity to Google. You are handing over all your profit just to get the sale. And look, there are things like you should consider lifetime value.
Yeah.
If it's like, I have mowing companies, hairdressers, beauticians. If anything is repeatable and has a decent lifetime value, then that argument can go out the window. Where you're selling a product and it's one-off and they're unlikely to come back, then, we need to assess each industry under its own merits.
Yeah.
And some industries are significantly more expensive than others.
Yeah.
And so I say, I have a whole pile of marketing consultants who don't do Google Ads, who refer work to me. And I say, right, these are the broad parameters. Please don't send me anyone selling a $20 widget. But otherwise, send them to me and I'll assess each one on its merits, because I can't tell you how many, but probably maybe 30% of people that come across my desk, I'm like, Google Ads, maybe not quite, but Google Ads is not the place for you. And unless you're really, really desperate to try it out, but it will be against my better judgment.
Yeah.
These are the reasons. There are some other qualitative reasons, like if you're just going to try and get the ball rolling,
Yeah.
Sally might bring in 3 friends. There's those types of things, but really you want, if not the initial purchase, certainly the lifetime value to more than cover. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. 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 And I think there's a lot of businesses probably in the last couple of years that have built on paper or maybe on Instagram success through paid ads, but the profitability and also the actual income stream outside of pay, put in $1, maybe get back 2, doesn't exist. And it's, that kind of all the eggs in one basket. And, you're doing $10,000 each month and that's great, but it's costing you, 6,000 in ad spend to get there. And you've completely thrown out the window what your product actually costs, and they're just bleeding themselves dry.
I think it's about awareness.
Mm.
It really is about being consciously aware. And if you decide that it's okay just to break even for different reasons, then that's totally fine. But it's about being aware of that, I think. In my calculator, I asked the business, because I focus primarily on service-based businesses.
Yeah.
So I say to them, essentially you're asking them their conversion rate, but
Yes.
put it into lay terms. I'm like, right, for every 10 contact forms or 10 phone calls you get, roughly how many would you convert?
Yeah.
The other question is, what is the average deal size worth or lifetime value? And the third one is their profitability. Like, what's your product? What's your margin? I've only ever had one business that flatly refused to tell me. I'm like, mate, I'm not looking to replicate your business. I'm quite okay with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's actually wildly surprising to me how many businesses don't know those figures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, if you can get those figures sorted in your head, you will be able to make decisions really, really quickly, not just in relation to Google ads, but general business, but general business decisions. And I even do it with a friend of mine who's like my business bestie, and she was saying, oh, this client's driving me crazy. And I'm like, right, how much do you make out of them?
Yeah.
Told me that figure, and then we knew what her margins were, and I'm like, is that worth it?
Yeah.
And you can make those decisions very on the fly.
Yeah.
Because you've got that maths and you don't have to spend 2 days trying to figure it out.
100%. And I think what's so interesting with that, and it'd be across services and small, owner operated product businesses as well, is people forget to put a dollar value on their time. So, when you're calculating the margin of the candles that you make, it's not just the glass jar and the wax and the wick and the label. If you don't put a labor cost in there of any amount to account for you as an unpaid labor, essentially, you're never going to profitably grow, because when your business is too big for you to pour those candles and you need to pay somebody else, if you haven't factored in some sort of labor cost that can replace you into your profitability, again, it's a fallacy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's fascinating though, because I've done so many of them over the years.
Yeah.
If a business doesn't know, then I can pretty much tell them what it should be.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, if it's just little old you sitting in a 3x3 room with a laptop and some internet, then your margin should be 80% by the time you have, like in public liability insurance and a laptop every few years and da-da-da. Like, if it's not 80%, then there's a problem. I said, but if you've got unskilled labor, then your margin might be 30%, maybe 40%. If you're a physiotherapist and you've got a team, then your margins are probably only 10, maybe 20%. Like, I can literally tell you that straight up. And I'm like, how about we just put X? Because I'm pretty certain that's but I say to people, if you take anything away, whether you work with me or not, please get around these 3 figures.
Oh, I know. It feels like you're part profitability coach, part Google Ads expert.
I feel like part business manager, part digital marketing. I was even thinking the other day, maybe I should do like a digital marketing big sister if you want just to get
the hard truths.
No, not so much the hard truths, but the guidance around it, not being a formal marketing strategy, but that, holy crap, what should I do? Like, what's suitable to my business? And then I probably should jump onto the topic of my other favorite one, which is own your own digital assets,
Oh,
like
yes.
the amount of, like
Yes.
people who come to me and go, I don't know about that. And like, that's an use. And I just say to them, look, you can be forgiven up until now, but from now
Yeah.
you actually can't, because it's like you're handing away the keys to your motorbike and your
Yeah.
car and your house.
Yeah.
And mate, I've seen businesses crippled
Yeah.
because they haven't had control over their digital assets.
I think that, I mean, we see that from people that don't know who owns their domain. And I'm
Mhm.
like, your domain is a huge asset of your business. If you could imagine your actual warehouse, your domain is that. Like, it is so important to not know where that is, who read it. And when, clients start from scratch and then they say, oh, well, you'll do the website, you'll do the hosting. I'm like, but I won't buy your domain. You need to go
No.
to Crazy Domains. You need to go somewhere and buy that domain in your name, in your email address. I do not want to own your domain, because one day it might not be me. And yeah, I want the confidence of you owning that. And then you get into, the Facebook page that's not owned by anyone in the company, the
Yeah. Someone left and
Meta suite that's an absolute nightmare, the Google Ads account that you're not actually an admin on, the GA4 account that you're a
yeah.
user on. And like, it is. I think that's such a great point and such a huge knowledge gap. And, when you're starting a business, you don't know any of these things. Most of us know the ABN, the GST threshold, registering a business name, if we're lucky, those traditional starting a business things, but all the
Mm.
digital world business things is a whole other language.
Totally. And I say to them, like the ones who say, oh, I've got no clue and sort of brush it off, I'm like, I don't actually need you to even know what this thing does.
Yeah.
I don't even care if you don't have a password word saver. I don't care if it's a book on your desk. You
Yeah.
you will have the URL, you will have the username,
Yeah.
you'll have the
Yeah.
password. At the very least, that's what you need to have,
Yeah.
so that you have some control, so that the next version of me who
Yeah.
comes in and asks you,
Yeah.
you can actually say yes. And then I think my record is 3 hours with somebody sharing a screen, trying to like, and when I onboard people, I'm like, so the most painful part about this
Yes.
whole entire process is going to
Yes.
be getting access to things. And they're like, no, 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 it's going to be super easy. I'm like, trust me,
You've got no
that
idea.
happens in about 10% of cases. And then I'm like, yes.
Oh, 100%. I make, one of our, I mean, obviously, like everyone, the first step is the onboarding checklist of let's go through this. And, people are so apologetic. Don't know how to add you to the account. And it's like, you wouldn't know. Why would you know? And, trying to solve business manager issues in Meta, I think I said to my team the other day, I need to train some of you in how to navigate all this, because I can't be the only person, here that knows how to fix these problems, but they're not easy problems to fix. Coming back to Google, tell
Yes.
me about, I know that there's a lot of new types of campaigns and offers in Google in the last year, which I think has been, in my opinion, an exciting step forward for Google, and Google trying to bridge some of the gaps maybe that it has to social. What's your favorite campaign type to work in?
Oh, look, and I'm probably the exact opposite of that in that, you know what? Some like, yes, things have changed substantially. I'd say in the last 5 years,
Oh,
especially in the last
absolutely. Yeah.
2. And look, but some of this, like, keep it simple, because some of the stuff, like, yes, you might have to change the match types of keywords,
Yeah.
and I'm less hating on broad match keywords now, because depending on the account, they actually can work quite well. Be
Yeah.
very, very careful when you say yes to that, though. But if you can get the basics right, like when I have an account come to me that has either been DIY'd or set up by somebody who should really not be doing Google Ads for a living,
Yeah.
it is 100% the same stuff every
Yeah.
time that we find that is a mess. And if you can get those basics right and then manage it within an inch of its life,
Yeah.
that's the bottom line on it. We see smart campaigns bidding on brand name where they don't have competitor issues. We see them bidding on informational educational, generalist terms that are never going to convert. We see them bidding on chances are it will do well.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line on it. We see smart campaigns bidding on brand name where they don't have competitor issues. We see them bidding on informational, educational, generalist terms that are never going to convert. We see it all. And I say to people, when you work with me, your cost per click is probably going to go up.
Yeah.
But with
That's
any
gonna be
luck,
quality. Yeah.
it'll be quality and you're going to
Yeah.
end up with new people. And it's very, very challenging. I've had a couple recently trying to educate business owners that haven't had much exposure to Google Ads or are in the habit of knowing they get 30 conversions a month or 50 conversions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you might have been converting, but you were converting on absolute rubbish. Either your business name that no one's bidding on, like no
Yeah.
one's competing on,
Yeah.
and stuff that like they might go through to your website and they might convert, but kind of not really. Like
Yeah.
they're not going to become a patient. These are medical
Yeah.
ones.
And what's your actual end? Like there's the conversions in your Google Ads report, but what is actually your conversion through the door? What does that look like?
That's right. And so I go through it all and like this particular one was like not letting me turn off smart campaigns that were wasting a pile of money.
Wow.
And slowly over time, I've kind of dialed it down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then have to explain why the cost per click went from 75 cents to $8. I'm like, because you're actually buying things that are going to bring people through the front door now. Yeah, so it's an interesting education process.
Yeah.
Always comes with education. This is why
Yeah.
this is happening. That's why that's happening. And I know there's a level of trust there, but I think
Yeah.
that comes with time. And if
Yeah,
you're
for sure.
cool and rational and not doing salesy rubbish, which I don't even know how to do, then, I think their bottom line and what they're seeing at their end should speak more loudly than any report you can ever send them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of that challenge is working with people that are willing to understand enough to then be able to trust and to be able to, I guess, kind of like reverse put value in. I know for us, sometimes the clients that are kind of disengaged, don't read the reports, don't give feedback on lead quality, all those sorts of things, become in some ways the worst clients because you
Yeah.
never really know if you're achieving. You don't know if they're actually valuing the service that you're giving them. So like we try to make that habit of like when we send the report, say, and how is the lead quality? It's like, even if you don't read the report, please just tell me
Yeah.
something about the people we sent you. Were they, because we don't know. We can send, but we don't know until you feed that back. And it sounds like, you're having those great conversations as well.
Yeah, and so I do a video report. So I send a Looker Studio report, but I also do a verbal speak to it report.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's interesting is I had a previous software that wasn't like Loom. It didn't tell you when they watched it. So I changed to Loom.
Lovely.
I started to record when
Yes.
people were watching it and I'd
Yeah.
mark it off every month. And then after 6 months or so, I went back and there was two very unexpectedly. They weren't the candidates I was expecting. And so I was like, and I'm pretending, hey, Sally, are you loving the auto reports? How's the videos going for you? And she obviously kind of guessed that. She's like, oh, I can get to them, Belle. And I'm like, well, if it's not needed, like,
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I'll save my time. She's like, no, I really want them. I'm like, mate, because I know her very well. I'm like, mate, you have to start watching them or I'm going to stop sending them to you.
I do love that. I love with a Loom as well, sometimes how quickly someone watches a video, but then how long it takes them to reply to you and say anything in regard. It's like you feel like going, come on, I know you watched that video a minute after I sent the email.
That's it. Or I send budget emails primarily to prompt them to tell me other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've got one in particular who said to me, goes, so can you give me insight as to whether or not like ask a question?
Yeah.
And I know I can't do this, but I feel like going, just go back and refer to your report for that month, the one you didn't listen to.
I know. I know. We started using agency analytics and like build dashboards for people. And then when they go to me, so how are the ads going? It's like, open the dashboard. You can filter by date, any given day. The information is there in the most user-friendly way. The things I'm saying right now, I'm only saying because I opened your dashboard.
That's it. Yeah.
It's the horse to water, isn't it?
And then you've got the good eggs because we must also remember them where within seconds or minutes of sending the email, they've watched the video and I get the notification. And they send. So it probably leads me to one of my favorite sort of spiels. Everyone gets a spiel at some point about a variety of my favorite topics. And one other one is that your ads will be as good as your participation.
Yeah.
I'm here to work my butt off. I will do 110%. But the reality is I don't own your business and I'm not sitting in your office. So
Yeah.
I do not expect you to spend hours, but if you
Yeah.
don't participate, if you don't send emails back to me, if you don't tell me what's going on,
Yeah.
about promotions, those sorts of things, then what chance have I got?
I love that. I really
Yeah.
love that. Yeah. I feel it deeply.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a lawyer once who literally, like, she came via a marketing consultant, so thankfully I could ask her questions. But
Yeah.
this particular lady attended one meeting for 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
When I sent my contract through, keep in mind, I just said lawyer, asked me, the receptionist asked if I
Oh,
could send it in Word so she could print it out and put it on her desk.
oh
And
bless.
I'm like, yeah, no. Her website is a modern invention that saves us a whole bunch of time. And it could be edited, so I think you could figure that out. She was and, like, never mind the fact that they didn't have enough budget for what, $30 to $100 clicks. That
Oh,
was
wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
lawyers are a whole other level. Like, her ads were not as good as they could have been because
No.
she literally didn't participate and
Yeah.
she wouldn't give an offer and it didn't need to be cheap and nasty, but,
No.
like, wasn't willing to have the discussions to see
Yeah.
where we could make improvements,
Yeah.
and without that, you're not gonna do 110%. It's gonna be less than that.
Yeah. I think that's a really, really good point. Yeah, that it has to be a partnership. It can't exist in a silo.
Yeah. Whereas then you've got, like, I've got a mowing company, and honestly, if I've got a new improvement, he's the first person that gets a phone call because I know that he'll have whatever I'm asking for in
Yeah.
less, like, if it's a new website page, it'll be done in less than a week.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
yep. He's like, "Yep, Belle, I'll ask for that today. I'll get it back to you tomorrow," or
Yeah.
whatever. And, you know, A/B testing things is so important,
Yeah.
whereas and now I'm probably getting stricter on arrival. If a website is not up if it's terrible, then I've always referred them to a developer
Yeah.
first. I don't do that
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
But now I'm even saying to the solid Bs, "You have to give me your word," and I'm almost tempted to put it in writing, that you are willing to invest in the changes that I'm going to recommend,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's my job is actually the click-through rate.
Yeah.
It's your
Yeah.
website's job to convert,
Yeah.
but you're gonna
Yeah.
get creepy with me at the 2 or 3 month mark if you're not getting conversions, even though technically that's not my job.
Yeah. No, 100%. Before we move into management with clients now, for most of our services, we have an audit and strategy project that has to happen. So it's a paid project. We audit absolutely everything, every analytic we can get our hands on, front end, back end, of their whole digital ecosystem. Then we write our strategy of what their ad strategy is going to be, but as part of that, everything that needs to happen in their digital ecosystem. So that's socials, emails, website, anything else you can think of, SEO. And that is the sign off to proceed to ads management or to social media management, because you can't just start based on, you can't start on shaky foundations. It
No.
all has to talk, it all has to be so polished. And as we know, Google ads are one piece of a journey. Sometimes it's the ad that leads me to the website, but then I drop it and I go away and then I pick it up and I look it up on Instagram or all those other touch points, or I sign up or to the newsletter and then I get those emails. It's all those other touch points that can also support that conversion. And if you've got the best ad going to a shit website and everything else behind it says, "Don't trust me, I'm not good quality, don't transact with me," well, then you can never do your job.
That's right, and so I actually have a task in my SOPs for setup where I tell them who I am. I'm not,
Yeah.
Betty pretending to be not. So I play mystery customer,
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
and I've had one this last week where they have a 1300 number, and I didn't choose to leave a message, and so I didn't actually need someone to ring me back, but I said to the owner, I said, "You've got this 1300 number. I haven't managed to get a human yet. No one's answered the phone,
Wow.
and I've rung 3 times." I didn't actually do that I was hoping to get the
Yeah,
operations
you wanted the
manager.
experience.
Actually,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to buy their service. It was a yoga studio, and I said to him, "I'm pretty sure I know why." I said, "'Cause let me guess, you've got classes in the morning and classes at
Yeah.
night, and you actually don't physically have someone." He's like, "No." that always goes to a message bank and we refer them back to the website. I said, so I'm your target market.
Yeah.
I came from your website because that's where your phone
Yeah.
number advertised.
Yeah.
Now and I can't say the words because we're recording this, but now I'm really cranky because now you've put me in a loop and you've just sent me back to your website. And if I could have got it off there, if I wanted to get it off there, then I would have, and I wouldn't have run. I said, so we need to fix that, because if you're going to invest in Google Ads, you can't have the rest of the customer experience be poor quality.
Yeah. No, 100%.
We might not be able to pay someone to sit there and answer that phone, but there's a middle ground somewhere there where we're going to at least tell them that we're going to call them back on the same day.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Because otherwise you've lost them. They're gone down the road to the next yoga studio because they're everywhere.
Yeah. And as we say, if you're paying to push traffic through, you need to make sure that experience once they get there is going to seal the deal for you as well.
Yeah, and business owners are too close to their own business and too close to their own website. I'm like, take a giant step back and see if you can pretend for me that you've never, ever been exposed to it before, and step through the process and see with your private, not your business mind, but your private kind of personality, are you annoyed by your own business? And if you are, then something needs to change, because like I said, there's no point sending paid ads or paid traffic to a process that's just going to annoy people.
Yeah. I love that. There's been such a great chat, Bel. Before we wrap up, I'm thinking maybe your one piece of advice to a business owner thinking about doing Google Ads.
Assess the viability. Don't assume that you should be doing ads. Don't assume that there's an audience for ads. Go and ask somebody like myself or yourself to go and actually have a look. Is there people searching for my service?
Yeah.
And what's the cost per click? Is that going to work with what my service costs? Because otherwise you're just wasting money.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you. I think you've been so generous in your expertise, and I think such an important conversation around viability, because you can talk about how to do ads and what platforms you love and all those sorts of things, but at the end of the day, it isn't viable for everybody, and that profitability and viability is so important. Bel, where can people connect with you and learn more about you?
You can find me on Instagram under my name, so belinda.irvine, or I own a very cool URL, which is the w's.bel.digital.
Love it. Awesome. Oh, that is a very cool domain. You must have got right in when digital launched.
I did, but I can't use it for my email address, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And thanks to everybody who's listened along today. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. That's a wrap on another episode of Ready, Set, Paid Ads. If you're looking for done-for-you services, training to upskill you in ads management, or free and paid resources to help you plan and execute better ads, head to wiseupmarketing.com.au. If you've loved this episode, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And if you know someone that would love this podcast too, go on and share it.